Lots of controversy in the not-so-sleepy town of Exeter. We'll talk about it tonight and a whole lot more. Join us. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Don't you feel that way on Friday night? I do. I just, I love Friday. I could jump into song, but I don't know. Is there a Friday song? I don't know. Rox, do you know any Friday songs? Not really. I know Monday songs, but I like Friday songs. All right. A little goofy tonight. Let's go. We got stuff to do. Oh, by the way, Bob Johnson, counselor in Exeter, under fire or recall. Yeah, they're trying to get him and 3 others out of there, but he doesn't seem that upset about it. We'll talk about why they're trying to recall elected officials in the Sleepy Hollow of Exeter, and what the process is all about. It's kind of weird, really, and somewhat counterproductive. To the rundown. This is funny. The numbers are so ridiculous, they are funny. The American people need a psychiatric couch to lie down on. They're still talking in Washington about this thing called the government shutdown and the debt ceiling deal, the latest on that. We have some data that is just statistically impossible when it comes to the evaluation of our Rhode Island educators. And then, if you're going shopping this weekend, old Kurt's got a couple of things you may want to take a look at. The Tigers are coming to town, and we're lucky that Mr. Verlander doesn't pitch until Game 3, and I am still trying to figure out how I can deal with those numbers. Maybe that's why I'm so goofy. I didn't sleep at all last night. I take this giant thing way too seriously. All right, our first little ditty tonight. NBC, Wall Street Journal poll. 60% say fire every member of Congress. Oh, come on, man. This number has moved from years ago like 40% to 45 to 50 to 52 to 57. We now sit at 60% of Americans who say if they had the chance to vote against their incumbent congressperson, they would. As if they don't have the chance. Every 2 years congressionally, every 4 to 6 years, depending on where you are on the cycle for your U.S. senators. It is amazing the psycho job that the American public does. It's getting to the point where whatever Americans say in a poll, you have to discount it by like 30% because it's all like psychological, emotional, knee-jerk reaction. Here's some of the deeper data. Check this out. Rural voters, I guess like those in Exeter. Well, you know what? It might be true in Exeter because they're trying to get the incumbent councilors out even without an election, so count them in. 70% of rural voters say if they could, they would. White independents, 70% say the same thing, and Republican-held congressional districts, 67%. Well, we didn't put up there because we didn't have any space, and we only felt like using one graphic, so we wouldn't confuse you. 52% of those who live in democratically controlled districts say the same, which is why here in Rhode Island, nothing's ever going to change. Those incumbents, Whitehouse and Reed on the Senate side, maybe Langevin got a little bit of a challenge. Cicilline's through 2 elections now. He's good. Around here, it's kind of boring, isn't it? The rest of the country's in a big harumph, and we're just going along to get along because we like ours. But the idea that 60% of Americans would throw them out is absolute bunk. It never shows that way. Incumbents don't get thrown out even in the red districts at that kind of rate. So it tells us that as much as we say that our politicians are all screwed up, so are we. We need an evaluation. All right, what else we got here going on today? Well, you know, we've got this whole ongoing conversation. The senators showed up at the White House earlier today. The headlines still reflect on the talking and the proposals and the GOP and the president. And here's the latest that Fox has on it for us this evening.
It's the Senate Republicans' turn to meet with President Obama at the White House this morning. On Thursday evening, House GOP leaders didn't immediately comment after their face-to-face.
The mood was very frank. I mean, we were very honest with one another, which is healthy. The most important part, I thought, is instead of talking through TV to one another, we're talking with one another.
The House Republican plan is a 6-week debt ceiling increase and begin stalled negotiations to settle budget issues to reopen the government.
I think the president wants to deal with America's pressing problems just as much as we do.
House Democrats want to vote on the Senate plan to fully fund the government before negotiating.
There are enough votes, Republicans and Democrats together, to reopen the government if the Speaker just decided to have that simple vote. Number two, we believe we should commit to paying our bills on time, not for just 6 weeks, but for a whole year.
The administration warns the government will run out of money to pay its bills next Thursday if lawmakers don't raise the nation's borrowing limit.
The president strongly prefers a longer-term resolution so that we can get away from this periodic brinksmanship.
But the White House indicated President Obama would likely sign a short-term debt ceiling increase. The Senate Majority Leader made his thoughts clear on negotiations without reopening the government first.
Not going to happen.
Hey, Harry, yes it is. Yes it is, because the president does not want to be hanging around having anything to do with a debt ceiling deadline passing by. So guess what, Harry? You were the tough guy on the government shutdown. You called the Republicans' bluff on Obamacare, and your credit is due here, because the Obamacare stuff is mostly out of this negotiation right now. Now it's about different kind of spending cuts and more financial discipline and all that kind of thing. But there will be a debt ceiling delay, if you will, at least 6 weeks as we continue to negotiate, and the government might be shut down all along with it. And Harry, you can't always get your way. I know you've been on a roll, but you know what? Nobody scores 1,000 or bats 1,000. Alrighty, let's check to see about, speaking of batting 1,000, let's move to baseball, sort of. Curt Schilling. Oh, no, you know what? I flipped a page. It happens on a Friday. Caught myself, Rox, because Rox would take, hey, dummy, you missed this whole big thing you were all hepped up about. Impossible teacher data. How could I forget? Yes, Dan McGowan stopped by the set last night to tell me about his WPRI.com piece. This is a very, very, very interesting report that he put together. The headline, 95% of teachers highly rated. Administrators disagree. Yeah, but you know what's so funny? It's the administrators who actually put the 95% rating together. Here's what happened. You know that Race to the Top grant, the $75 million for the state of Rhode Island, and the plan to evaluate teachers, and the teachers are like, whoa, whoa, we don't want to be evaluated like this. It's not fair. It doesn't measure our greatness. Well, guess what came out? 95% of those who have been evaluated have been judged either effective, let me read this, I can see this without my glasses, effective or highly effective. There's no organization in America that has 95% of its people effective or highly effective. There's got to be some percentage of deadbeats. And is there anybody in this audience that believes that 95% of our teachers are doing a terrific job? Because that's what that means. What the administrators say is that we were too nice. And it reflects on the culture of pressure that administrators feel about how they judge teachers. Do you believe that nonsense? Larry Pirtle, who was here last night to talk about charter schools, he's the head of the teacher union, he reflected to Eyewitness News about these numbers.
Teachers need to be evaluated, administrators need to be evaluated, but it needs to be something that affects instruction and improves instruction rather than being punitive or something that just takes up a lot of time. So it needs to be, again, when administrators and teachers can sit down and work out this out, then that's perfect. And what may necessarily be great in Providence may be different in, say, Barrington or Westerly. So there's where the local autonomy is really important.
You know, it reminds me of that movie, Shut Up, You Had Me at Hello. What was that with Tom Hanks as the, what was that movie, Rox? Come on, this is what happens when you ad-lib TV. Jerry Maguire, thank you, Rox. Jerry Maguire, yep, it's like, shut up, you had me at a low. Larry, you got a 95% thumbs up rating, shut up. What you should be saying is it's the best administration evaluation system of teachers ever made. This place is crazy. And you believe that 42% of the teachers who discussed their evaluations thought that there was no accuracy in the evaluations until they get the number 95, and now they're all kind of like, really good. It's a very fluid process, our education system, in evaluating it. Hey, now let's go to the baseball thrower, Curt Schilling, and the guy who lost $75 million of our money, plus, in his 38 Studios deal. He's having an estate sale. It's a very haughty name for what I call a yard sale, or what you call a tag sale. I'm always confused. In Rhode Island, you call them yard sales, right? In Jersey, where I grew up, you call them tag sales. But did you see what he's got? We got a little B-roll of some of this stuff. In case you're shopping on a Saturday and you're one of those wackos that shows up at like 7 o'clock in the morning at somebody's house, I'm always, the only time I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning, like out of the house, is when I got a tea time. And on a Saturday, I'll be driving around and everyone's like picking apart somebody's front yard. It's very weird. You guys are weird. We've had one or two at our house, but I try to leave town when we do it because it just embarrasses me, selling your stuff. But there's some nice stuff. He's got a Hummer golf cart. He's got a baby grand piano, you may have seen that, and a mini Zamboni. Is that, the Zamboni is the thing that you drive around on the ice, right? I guess you have to have some ice to have a Zamboni. If you got ice, Schilling's got your Zamboni. Listen, he's broke. Help him out. Be nice when you go up there. Be nice. Socks, Tiggers, big one, ACLS. Here's the good news. You don't have to face Verlander until Game 3, it looks like.
Of impressive pitching.
These guys are, this is Benoit, whatever his name is, the relief pitcher. I mean, he almost gave the whole thing up last night. Verlander is incredible. I don't know how you beat that guy. Here's what he had to say about his performance last night.
You know, a big game pitcher, that's something that people want to talk about. I just go out there when my team needs me the most. And, you know, obviously it's something that you dream about as a kid. You know, it's a win or go home. You know, it's you visualize when you're, 10 years old in your backyard. All right, Game 5, Game 7, got to win. And, you know, it's pretty exciting to have gone out there twice in that scenario and done a very good job.
That guy is awesome. Thank goodness if you're a Sox Nation member, and most of you are, he's not up until Game 3 on Tuesday night, which may impact our broadcast here Tuesday night because the post-game show will be on myRITV. But if I'm a little late or missing on Tuesday, I'll see you at 11:30 on the replay. And finally, I can't figure out, I'm looking at this number saying, I woke up this morning saying, God, tell me this is not true. I mean, my life priorities are God, Giants, family, country in that order, sort of. I kid. But did you see that thing? I mean, I don't even know how to deal with this. I mean, it's the first quarter, and and Eli's throwing 2 interceptions before we even get going. Oh my God! And Tom Coughlin is trying to make hide nor hair of it. Do we have? Yeah, we do. We're running along here tonight, but just go ahead and run Coughlin. He looks like a guy who's making excuses for a freshman football team.
You know, we obviously put 4 quarters together. Didn't win the game, so there's no solace in doing reasonably well, but losing. But I do think that one of the goals we had was to try to play 4 solid quarters of championship quality football. And I think we played hard. We played.
I can't stand looking at it. It's a longer cut. I can't stand it. I told Rox to run the whole thing. Then I just said, please bring it back to me. Lord, please stop it. Stop the pain. In Exeter, they've got a big recall election pending. Very strange place these days. One of the guys who's a target next. I can't believe we're 0-6. Oh my God. About all I know Exeter for is Route 2. And, you know, is it in Exeter that we had the Native American cigarette raid? No, it's Charlestown.
No, that was out in Charlestown. That's not Exeter.
And there's a difference between the two?
Oh, yeah, about 30 miles. We hope.
30 miles difference between Charleston and Exeter?
Can be.
What's between them?
South Kingston.
Robert Johnson is the counselor. At least he knows the geography. You're better if you live there. And it's very pretty.
Very nice out there.
But you got some problems.
A little bit.
You got a little situation going on. Here's the headline that has been actually, when Exeter starts to seep into the Providence area news and the media, you know that they've got some stuff going on. Gun advocates recall effort moves ahead. That would be recall effort as opposed to recall. Recall effort. You are an elected official.
Yes, I am.
And there's a crowd that wants you out.
Yes, they do.
What did you do?
Well, we had attempted to update an old law in Rhode Island that requires the town clerk to issue gun permits. It was a law that's been on the books forever. Nobody's used it in Exeter until the last 2 years when a former council member discovered it. And we attempted to change that law to have it go back to the Attorney General's office. But the law failed, it didn't change, and everything has remained the same.
Yeah.
But apparently some special interest groups are concerned that they feel we violated the Constitution, so they want to recall us and throw us out of office.
All right, now listen, to be fair, because if those of you in Exeter, and I kid you about not knowing where it is, sort of, we tried. We made a real effort to try to get some folks on that side of the conversation here tonight to talk to Bob, because he's one of these guys, I've known him on and off for a while, he's one of these guys that can talk to anybody. And of course, there's always complaints about how government officials handle the local meetings, but this all stemmed from something that happened back in March. When
Correct.
we had, we've had some serious conversation about guns in this country, and the gun rights advocates, and I don't really oppose them, I just wonder about tactics sometimes, in Exeter, cited your effort to say, we ought to get out of this business. So I guess this counselor, what's his name? The former counselor.
Dan Patterson.
And a gun shop owner, to boot.
Correct.
He's the one who made this thing happen, where the clerk, ill-trained,
Correct.
makes decisions on whether I can have a gun permit or you can have a gun permit.
Right. He was on the council at the time and discovered this law. And the way he discovered it was other communities are trying to get out of this. They don't want to have their police chiefs issue these permits. And in the
Let me
law...
tell you something, the police chiefs don't want to issue these permits.
That's true.
Some of them, anyway.
They don't want to. But what happened was when they read the law, they found the section known as the Exeter section, where it says any city or town without a police chief or superintendent, the town clerk may issue a license on approval of the town sergeant. Neither one of them have law enforcement powers or access to law enforcement information, so we felt that that was inappropriate and that we wanted to change that.
And so you sent a resolution to the General Assembly, and what's really nutty in this state is how much the General Assembly controls local decision-making, that you can't make that decision
Right. Yeah.
independent of state government being the big brother is incredible to me. It never got off the ground at the General Assembly.
No, and actually it was submitted twice. It was submitted in 2011 when I was not on the council, and then the council members who submitted it then, and it failed then, were re-elected, and I was elected to the council in 2012, and we submitted it a second time. And again, the second time never got out of committee, never went for a vote. So people who think that we violated the Second Amendment and we've changed the law has not changed. It's exactly the same as it was when we started the process.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. You tried to change it.
Yes.
So you got to go.
Apparently.
Well, we'll talk about the gotta go process when we come back. Stay with us. He's got to go. I don't think he feels like he needs to go. All right, we're working quickly here. Robert Johnson is a counselor of the town government in Exeter. He's under recall pressure by people who wanted gun permits to remain in the power of the town clerk, who's kind of a victim in all of this because I'm sure she doesn't need the aggravation. But anyway,
Right.
we'll pass that part of it. So they went out and they got the petitions. They need 10% of the elected, of the registered voters to actually sign off and say they want you out.
Correct.
You're reviewing the paperwork as we speak as to whether all those signatures are legitimate. You think it will come out legitimate?
You really have no way of knowing. I mean, they needed 496 signatures. They got 605. At the beginning, they claimed they were going to come out with 1,000, so I don't know what happened with the process, but the 605 that need to be certified, and we'll see what happens.
And this is a few $1,000s expense for the town of Exeter that you budget all the time anyway for
Right.
special elections,
Yeah,
right?
we budget every year. You never know when a special election might come up. A council member could leave, so at least the money's in the budget. But if it's not spent, as it's never been before, it goes back into the general fund, and we don't spend those dollars.
So there's 5 people on the town council in Exeter. The 4 Democrats are being targeted. You're
Correct.
one of them.
Yes.
In the last election, there were 3 other competitors, correct?
Yes.
And the confounded silly law in Exeter is, on a recall, if you take one out, the next loser comes moving in. So if all 4 of you go, the 3 people at the bottom of the list become the governing body of the town.
Yes, they would get automatically.
And the election is yes or no, right? It's all it is.
Yes.
It's like, do you send them out packing or do you not? Yes
Right.
or no?
It's yes or no. So if we're out, there's no new election. Those 3 members would be appointed to the council, and then they get to appoint their 5th member because they'd be 1 short. So they get to pick who serves with them.
And the election would be held within 60 days.
Within 60 days of the certification of signatures.
All right, so if they actually certify, and I'm sure you'll be doing some you're going to fight this every way, right?
Yes, we are.
You're fighting it on legitimacy of signatures. You're fighting it on process. You're going to fight the campaign.
Yes.
You got a website or something? Did we post that? Do we have that? Did
We've
we put
been
that up?
planning all summer long while they were out getting the signatures. We have a website that we'll be announcing soon.
Oh, it's not up. We can't put it up if we don't know what it is. Yeah. Rox, you don't have it because we don't have it. You can't even give us a hint, but you'll let us know.
No, it's actually saveexeter.org.
Okay.
And that is our website that explains everything. All the documents are there from what went on, and it gives people a chance to really view the issue.
Well, we will follow this closely because it's very controversial, and I know it's a serious issue. This is a takeover of local town government on a single issue matter, and we'll see how it plays. 15, 20 seconds of summation. Mr. Counselor, what's the moral of the story so far?
Well, the moral of the story for us is special interest groups came into Exeter, and they're looking to steal the election of 2012. And our team is going to work hard to protect that election and the votes and the trust that the voters put in us.
All right. We'll talk. Thanks for coming.
Okay.
All the way from Exeter, 30 miles from Charlestown. Your State of Mind when we come back. Interesting take when it comes to feedback on Your State of Mind. Erica tweeted at us last night regarding Dan McKee, the mayor of Cumberland, who's going to run for lieutenant governor and who may be viciously opposed by the unions. Can you imagine the teacher union working against that Mayor Dan McKee, a game changer for kids? Hey, you know what? It's not always all about the kids. Now, is it? We'll see. It's going to be an interesting political season. Your State of Mind. Leave me a voicemail at 228-1886. We'll play it on the air and talk all about you. State of Mind at myRITV.com is the email. I got to go. Had a great week. Talk to you on Monday at 7:30 on My State of Mind on myRITV. Good night. Have a good weekend. Bye.